Thing we need to do is get a battery in it. We borrowed the battery to move the blue Chevrolet pickup. Hook up the positive post. Should always use a terminal wrench on these side posts. If you don't get one, they're not very expensive. If you don't have one, this doesn't even have a brand on it. They're cheap, and they're the best thing you need. Best thing to have for this kind of work. Doesn't look like that's going in there. Yeah, it's good and tight. So much for that. Got the keys. It's covered with dust where I've been grinding on wheels. Bugs all over the roof. I'm going to blow it off with an air hose and see how it looks.
To say, you should hear it. Oh, I'm happy to make time for your feelings, but you have to admit I already do. Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced, and I'm gonna tell you, don't hate me 'cause I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have to be me 24/7, and I ain't never gonna stop. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. No, oh, oh, oh. And I ain't never gonna stop. Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Why isn't it enough to be faithful and also be the hit of the party? Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced, and I'm gonna tell you, don't hate me 'cause I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have to be me 24/7, and I ain't never gonna stop. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Never gonna stop. No, 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 no. Yeah, 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 yeah. I ain't never gonna stop. No, no. Oh, I ain't never gonna stop. I ain't never gonna stop now, baby. Never gonna stop now, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I ain't never gonna stop now, baby. Woo-hoo. Never gonna stop now, baby.
1976. By 1976, Chevrolet had just about forgotten about the muscle cars and this body style. Although this car shares a lot of parts with the 70 and later Camaro, it's only really more for suspension, not really for performance. The cars did handle well, as reflected by the number of police cars. These were 75 and later were used for a lot of police cars. After test driving the Chevrolet Nova, the Los Angeles County Police Department put in the largest order for any domestic car for police cars ever, and used all Chevrolet Novas. This particular one is the Concours. Even though it's painted like a Yenko, it's not a Yenko. The Yenko, they never made a Yenko this late. This looks like about a 1970 stripe from the 70 Yenko. It's not. I didn't paint the car. We got the car that way. It's not, doesn't have a very good paint job on it. It was painted in a barn or in a field because there's leaves in the paint where leaves had fallen on it. But it still shines a little, and we like to drive it. The Concours was the first coupe that Chevrolet offered with a center console that dropped down in the bench seat. The bench seat with the, I guess, the fold down armrest, you could call it. The Concours had a like a rosewood interior. You can see the faded rosewood. It doesn't look very good, but it has a little bit of the pleating. The Concours was the heaviest one offered, around 3,400 pounds. They built the car to compete with the Ford Granada and the Mercury Monarch and Dodge Dart and Plymouth Valiant, the compact, more compact luxury style cars. The 76s, the Concours is probably the nicest one that Chevrolet offered. It had this one looks like it probably had a partial vinyl top, but it has no drip rails. It's got this split. And you can tell by the way the paint is faded, and it's not really, the bodywork's awful. So I think someone has removed what was left of the vinyl top, and this trim has been put on with glue. It doesn't have any clips in it. Another thing that makes me think that it was probably modified from a vinyl. This car was offered with a 256 cylinder, with a 3-speed on the column. It was offered with a 305, but when I received this car, it had a 307 in it, strangely, and it numbers matched to a 307, older engine. I think it was put together in a junkyard and just sold off to the first guy that came along. That happened to be me. We barely made it back home in it. And they also offered a 350 with a 4-speed. It only had about 165 horsepower. And I think some of the 6-cylinder cars come with lower geared rear ends, but the V8 cars came with a 2.73 gear, and that's what's in this car. This car, we've modified it. We've put a monster transmission in it that we ordered from Florida. We've also put a crate 350 engine in it. The Monster 350 was the transmission I was talking about. 350 turbo hydromatic, automatic, 3-speed. It has Promax Patriot heads. They're aluminum. It has a thumper cam from Comp Cams. I don't know the exact specs right off the top of my head. The car does have headers on it and a short dual exhaust. It has I can't remember the style radiator. It came from Eastwood Company, believe it or not. They provided the radiator and the fan, the Raleigh fan, and the electronics and hardware. And it does run hot, even though it's aluminum radiator, and I believe it's a 3-core with a really big fins in it. The thing just runs hot, and I believe the heat comes from having such a strong stall converter, a gas guzzling engine, and a 2.73 gear that's made for running down the interstate 100 miles an hour. But when you pull out with this thing and that torque converter trying to slip, it really makes this engine hot really fast. It's kind of like riding around in a stander with your foot on the clutch all the time. There were a lot of these made. I believe there were around 300,000 manufactured that year. Not just the Concours, but in total. To get the Concours Coupe, it was another $547. The Concours weighed around 3,400 pounds. They ranged from $3,200 to $4,134 each. 334,728 were built. I believe there was you could get tons and tons of graphics packages because this is a bicentennial year, and I think they had a bicentennial graphics package. The stripe was actually similar to this Yenko stripe, but it wasn't the same on the hood. They had a Rally Sport Super Sport that was available, a Super Sport package. I believe it was another $500. It got chrome wheels and maybe a 4-speed, but not much else. I had a friend that had one of the 4-speed cars, and it was unbelievably strong, but I believe it was heavily modified. It ran really good. Let's see if we can get set up where we
later 70s suspension under it. I put everything back factory. It is all new. But it was good to start with. I didn't really have to change anything. It's got the factory springs, factory A-arms. It's got everything it needs. It handles remarkably well. It takes curves great. I've got wider stand smoke off all tires on it, but they don't ride bad. It's really comfortable to drive. It's fun when it don't overheat. Lately it's been overheating a lot. I had a bad fan relay. I changed that. Topped it off with fluid, antifreeze. Hopefully that's helped. We're getting ready to find out. It's a really hot day today and really humid. We've already went maybe 5 miles. Running around 170. Temperature rise. drive, he slows down.
neglected it. All it needed was a fan belt, battery put back in it. I missed all the cruise ins this summer because we were having so many heating problems. I think the heating problems are about eliminated. Looks like we're about 180 on our temperature. It's cruising right along. Cooler, a little bit cooler today, this evening. It was real hot, but when it started getting dark, it got cool. This thing wants to go. It just wants to drive. did. What a fun ride.
It was a fun little ride in the evening in the Disco Nova. It's got a little warm. You hear that fan rolling. But it was a blast. I really need to get this car out more. Well, thanks for riding along with me this evening, guys. I do appreciate you coming along and hanging out. Checking out the 1976 Disco Nova, Bicentennial Nova. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay clean.